What's up, everybody? Welcome to the latest edition of the RiOT Comedy Podcast presented
Duh.
by Shout out to RiOT Spring Water, keeping us healthy and hydrated over here. Latest NBA news.
Whoop
Couple
whoop.
weeks into the season now. Cavaliers undefeated. Klay returns to the Warriors, to Golden State tonight. Let's get into it.
Let's do it. So the Klay to Golden State. You know, at the end of the day, does it really matter? It's cool. It's fun. If you're Klay Thompson, I think you're like, damn, playing on the Warriors looks funner right now. They're balling out of control. However, though, at the end of the day, I think Klay made the right decision and he plays for the better team. That's kind of where I'm at. I think that it was the right decision. Let's start this podcast over. Start it over.
Yeah, let's definitely do that.
Let me get his fucking shakes out real quick.
Yeah, it's all good. We'll just keep it rolling. It's only been going on a minute. There's no point in starting it over.
Oh, you just cut it out?
Yeah, because I always cut the very beginning and the very end off of it before I export it anyway.
All right. We want to do a new intro?
That's just like more shit for it. That's just more shit for it to try to upload. So
yeah, do you want to do a new intro?
Yeah, I'll redo the whole intro. Yeah.
Okay, let's do it.
All right. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the latest edition of the RiOT Comedy Podcast presented by RiOT. Shout out to RiOT Spring Water, keeping us healthy and hydrated over here.
Hydration.
A couple weeks into the NBA season, let's get into it. Undefeated Cavaliers, Warriors hot. Klay returns to Golden State tonight. Let's jump in. Let's jump into Klay.
Yeah,
I don't think it's I'm looking forward to it. I think he's gonna come out on fire tonight.
I hope so. I hope that the Warriors lose. Just because like I'm a big Klay fan.
Me too.
They basically just threw him out like they threw him to the curb like he used Jimmy.
I think he's gonna feel like he's got to stick it to his old team. So I think he's gonna come out pretty hot tonight.
I hope so. I mean, at the end of the day, we'll kind of see what happens. I think that the Mavericks are a better team, though, regardless of starts of the season. I think that the Warriors.
I would agree with that for sure.
I think the Warriors are playing with house money right now, and I think the Mavericks are not. I think that's a big difference when it goes into the season. However, though, Warriors much better than I thought they would be already. Like they look like a bona fide playoff team. They look really good. Steve Kerr is doing a great job. Like I can't sit there and knock these dudes. I am excited for Klay to go back. That'll be something that's on my TV. Hopefully my kiddo's in bed by then, so I can actually sit down and enjoy it. But at the end of the day, it's gonna be a great basketball game. We're gonna do the whole tribute video, things like that, to really jock Klay's wiener. In Golden State. So at the end of the day,
at least he deserves it. Who was I watching recently that got a tribute video?
Paul George, probably. Paul George got one.
That may have been it.
I know he got one for the Clippers, which I mean, he took them to their first ever Western Conference Finals appearance. I guess if you're the Clippers, you have to celebrate those things because even those are so few and far between in your franchise history. So I guess you celebrate every round you win like it's a championship. But I don't. Too many guys get tribute videos. Like you see guys on there, like they were just talking about like DeMar DeRozan getting his number retired. I think we need to quit retiring so many people's jerseys. Unless you were like a cultural phenomenon.
The leading scorer in franchise history, though.
Yeah, but you never even went to a finals. Like at some point, we do need to start. Like in sports in general, we're starting to reward a lot more individual play than overall success, and it's leading to like bad contracts, bad teams, stupid jersey retirements, bad statues. Like at the end of the day,
you play for a team for 1 year and you get a tribute video when you go back. Like that's the silliest shit I've ever seen.
Unless you're Kawhi Leonard. Unless you're Kawhi.
Yo, real talk.
Then
real talk.
Like if you're the Raptors and you want to give Kawhi a statue and retire his jersey and give him everything, I'm not even mad at it because he came in like a ghost and won and left. Like it was such like a mythical thing anyways that if you're the Raptors, it's going to be the only championship you probably get for maybe my whole lifetime. And I plan on living to be like 100. So
all that. So how many years did Paul George play for the Clippers? Like
5 probably,
like
right?
4 years.
He was there for a while. I mean, maybe this would have been I think his 6th year. I think, but I could be wrong.
I think he got there in the 2019-2020 season. I think. Wasn't the year they blew the 3-1 lead in the bubble? Wasn't that their first year together or not?
I think that was their second, maybe. So yeah, regardless, 4 or 5 years, never went to a finals, no tribute video for you. Because that's the thing is like then it kind of diminishes other tribute videos, right? Like it'd be like the Wizards giving Paul Pierce a tribute video.
Paul George has spent too much time hurt. He's spent too much time on the bench. He hasn't played enough games in any uniform in the NBA to get a tribute video.
No, definitely not. So at the end of the day, like, if you're the Clippers, you might like to have Paul George still because you suck now. But at the end of the day, I think when you look at what's going on in Philly, I think that you're probably pretty excited about it. And bringing up Philly, this is kind of something I'd like to say about the NBA in general. Like, can you make the playoffs without playing a ton of basketball? Yes. Can you do certain things and work your way around the schedule a little bit? Yes. However, though, you have teams now getting so far behind the 8 ball. Like, I think the Sixers are, last time I checked, they were 1-9. I don't know what the record is now. They don't win a lot, so there's probably more losses in that column. So, like, if you're 1-10, the season's already like damn near 15% over. And
Are the Sixers going to break their own record for worst season in NBA history?
No. And I think the Detroit Pistons own that record now. I think the Detroit Pistons took that record. But yeah, I think that we're going to see, I think that there's a pretty good chance that this will be one of the most disappointing teams in NBA history, and I don't even know if they'll make the playoffs because
absolutely.
Right now you're like 8-9 games below 500. Joel Embiid's not playing back-to-backs. Paul George isn't probably going to play back-to-backs. So if you play 500 basketball and you're 15 back-to-backs, I think they have 14 left back-to-backs. So you're still 9 games below 500 plus, a couple more misses by these guys. Tyrese Maxey's out. I'd be shocked if these guys made it to the they might make the play-in, but I don't even know if I ain't buying these guys. Like, at the end of the day, I think that it's time that we just let them rest and don't talk about the Sixers anymore the rest of the season and talk about teams that deserve it. Like,
I feel that
the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Like, the only reason to talk about the Sixers is if there's drama or something juicy. No more.
Or you better win 20 games in a row. Because I don't think the Sixers have enough team chemistry to win 10 games in a row. But this is what I was telling you the other day. If these guys win 20 out of their next 30 games, which they're not going to do, they're playing 500 basketball. That is an insane way to start your season and be behind the 8 ball. So I just kind of want to let that out there. Let's not talk about the Sixers anymore. Let's not talk about Joel Embiid. Let's not let them take shine away from teams like the Cleveland Cavaliers. Like, these dudes are hooping. But here's my thing about the Cavs, and this is not a slander on them one single bit. I'm glad they're playing good basketball, but this is kind of what we expected last year, right? Not a 12-0 start, but the talent's there. The talent is there.
Yeah, we expected them to be good.
Like, your bench isn't that deep. I get that. That's fine. Maybe you can make a move at the deadline and make it a little bit better, but at the end of the day, you have the pieces in place to compete with anybody in the NBA, period. And that includes Boston.
Absolutely.
And I'm not saying you guys beat Boston, but I'm talking about a nice competition, a 6-game series we're talking about here. Donovan Mitchell has shown time and time again that I'm going to hoop in the playoffs. All he needs is his players to be a little bit more aggressive, take a little bit more pride. Not saying that they don't, but take a little bit more pride in defense, take a little bit more pride in rebounding. And, these guys have the potential to be the second-best team in the league, across the league.
Absolutely.
So, flowers to them. No knock here, no what they could do, no nothing. Even if they lose the next 4 or 5 games in a row, I don't care. I still think these dudes are hoopers at the end of the day. And I think that, we got a good mix with Garland and Mitchell. I think the whole team understands the assignment now of pass the ball to Will, a.k.a. Donovan Mitchell. Pass this dude the ball, give the ball to Spida, and get out the way. So I think that coming to that realization, because there was some drama in the offseason. I don't know if people remember, but they were saying that if Donovan Mitchell gets a max extension, Darius Garland's going to demand a trade. Mm-hmm. Jared Allen sat out a couple postseason games. They might trade him because he's lacking in heart. All these things that they were talking about, and now put that shit to rest, put it to fucking bed, and just hooping now. So kudos to them, dog. New coach, new kind of, I had some drama. Nothing affected it. Just full fucking steam ahead. So shout out to the Cavs, dog. That's impressive because most teams kind of don't have that ability to do that. That's for sure.
So they're definitely the second best team in the East. I think, we still got to have Boston over them. They're the reigning champs. I know Cleveland's undefeated, but who else in the East, do you think could emerge as a team that's we can compete with Boston and not get destroyed? Do you think New York can compete with Boston? Nobody?
No, nobody.
I don't either. After watching Boston play, I mean, if your team doesn't shoot 53s a game, you can't play with these dudes.
Me personally, I disagree with that sentiment, but it makes sense. The mathematics prove it. The analytics prove it, but I'm not a big guy on analytics when it comes to sports. I think that if you could go down there elbow Porzingis up a little bit, get him out the game. And I think that if you play really tight perimeter defense, well, it's tough because even if you play tight perimeter defense, Jaylen Brown's probably going to facial somebody shortly after you start tightening up your perimeter defense. But like at the end of the day, the game plan has to be, well, you got to have a big. Like that's the thing is if you have a big, like if you're the Cavs and you have Mobley and Jared Allen both, your game plan has to be run them off the three and lure everybody into the paint and just touch these guys up aggressively. That has to be the plan. That has to be what you do going forward. It has to be the game plan to beat them because you're not like this is the thing I said about the Warriors a long time ago. It's like, oh, you're like, you're going to have to make all these threes to beat them. You're not going to make more threes than them. You're not. And you're not going to make more threes than Porzingis, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Drew Holiday, fucking Derek White, fucking white boy Peyton Pritchard out here fucking shooting 43% from three this year, averaging 16 points a game. This dude might be the sixth man. They might have the sixth man of the year on their team right now. So you're not gonna make more threes than them. You're not gonna run with these dudes and make more threes than them. If you're not willing to play like the Lakers did in the bubble, you can't beat them. It's not gonna happen. You have to be bigger, stronger, more physical than them. And even still, the way that I'm seeing Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum play right now, I don't think that that's going to be something that affects the Celtics a ton. I think they're prepared for it, but that's going to be the only way you beat them. You're not going to outplay the Boston Celtics playing like the Boston Celtics. You're not going to outplay the Warriors. Like that's the biggest mistake that we saw tons of people make. Like you're the Portland Trailblazers and you have Damian Lillard and you fill them around with a bunch of 3-and-D guys who are fucking 6'5" tall. Like you're probably not going to beat the Warriors at being the Warriors. Now, if you would have, went out, got a couple big dudes, let Dame run the perimeter and have a couple big dudes and play physical, maybe you had a shot. Maybe, but you're not going to beat like the Houston Rockets learned it the hard way.
The Portland, even though they can, try to mimic the Warriors style of play, it wasn't like the Warriors were Steph Curry and 3-and-D guys, Like they had an amazing
but the whole game plan was we have to make threes to beat them, so we just have to fill our team up with 3-point guys. That was the whole plan. These dudes gave away a first-round draft pick for Robert Covington.
You gotta have good players, and like in the playoffs, the single most important thing is you gotta have players on your team who don't make mistakes.
When the Warriors though won their last championship, that team was not filled with good players. It was not filled with good players.
No,
it had a couple. It had a couple really good players and like some role players, but like there was no reason to. Like they won because the rest of the league was still trying to copycat these cats, and it couldn't be done because they had the two greatest shooters, arguably of all time, on their roster. You're not going to make more threes than this guys. The Houston Rockets tried it, and everybody's like, "Yeah, took him to Game 7." You went cold behind the arc for 2 games because unless you're Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, you will eventually fall on your fucking face and quit making your 3-pointers, and it's going to lead to long rebounds and transition, and the last thing you want is Steph Curry throwing behind the back passes to Klay Thompson in the corner on transition because they will fucking bury you and demoralize you. That is something that you cannot allow. Matchups make series and matchups make championships, and playing the exact same style as somebody who's better than you is not going to fucking equate to W's. It's not.
But the mathematics doesn't allow for you to win. Like it just doesn't.
The 3-point line will go cold eventually. It always does. Every team has a little short window where they can't shoot, and you got to steal games there, and you have to have a player on your team that can go for 40 any given night. That's the recipe to beat the Boston Celtics is be larger than them, but you have to have a guy on your team that can carry you offensively for stretches, and that's what the Cavs have. Now, the Cavs will not beat the Celtics, but the recipe that they have makes more sense than the recipe that you see for other teams out there trying to beat these guys, in my opinion. So, the Sixers have a great game plan. Tyrese Maxey's young. We have Joel Embiid being huge. Nobody can stop him except for injuries and Paul George. And, and I don't want to knock Joel Embiid a ton, me personally. He's been relatively healthy for the last 4 or 5 years. Yeah, he misses games here and there. But, they're just not going to have enough continuity to beat him. Because, now you have to – not only do you have to be bigger, stronger than these guys and have a perimeter guy who can get 40, you have to be a real team. And that's where the conundrum comes in. That's why the Cavs are so good, because this is their 3rd year. I'm hoping the NBA goes back to trying to form teams and gets away from let's just put a bunch of talent together. Probably not going to work. Yeah. Never really has. LeBron James did it and poisoned the league a little bit to make people think it could be done, but it can't be done. It just is what it is. That's why the Warriors have had sustained success.
Never worked.
So I don't know. I don't think anybody beats Boston, but I the Cavs have the best shot. Everybody else in the East. Hopefully the Knicks get better. But their defense has just suffered drastically. I saw a statistic yesterday that people inside the paint or like inside the perimeter, roughly like in that area, are shooting like 86% against Karl Anthony Towns, which is not good
Damn,
when you don't have any other
not
bigs
at
on your
all.
team for real. Like Mitchell Robinson's there, but he has the injury issues
Now you
here and
warm
there.
buttery toast.
That's the thing. And then you have Jalen Brunson, who's tiny. Like his defense can only be so good. Josh Hart also pretty tiny, and they always want to play him at like the power forward position because he can rebound. I just don't. I love the moves that they made. I think it made them better, but I think we saw how large the gap was between Boston and New York last year, and I don't think that gap got way smaller. It got smaller. It got smaller, and I think the Knicks can compete with the Cavs in a playoff series. I'd like to see that playoff series, but ass whoopings across the board for everybody.
All that.
For
All that.
everybody. And, there's been some disappointments this year. I know we wanted to give some flowers, but I think it's time to maybe take some people's away. I think me, including myself, did this, and I think that it's fair, and I think that it's like not overhype at by no means. And I think the kid will figure it out, but I think Wembanyama has had a very tough start to the season. I know last night he went for like 36 and 13 and 4, which is a lot easier to do when some of your three-pointers go in. Don't want to knock the kid, though. I think he's a special talent. I think he'll be the best player in the NBA within the next 2 seasons. But the way that he's playing basketball right now makes me want to throw up.
Me too. This shit is pissing me off. Like, you already know I texted you a week ago, and because this fool I was looking, and he's taking too many threes a game. He had a 5-game stretch where he was like, I think it was 6 for 28 through that 5-game stretch from 3.
Yeah.
So in one of those games, he took 13 threes.
Correct.
Greg Popovich, why the fuck are you letting this man shoot 13 threes a game?
Here's my thing. Unless, because you're not championship caliber team this year anyway, so unless like the plan is like, let's get Wemby good enough on the perimeter to where he can play the 2, and then we can have another 7-footer in the post and like another 7-footer at the power forward position, and like this is kind of the team that we run. If that's the plan, then like I love it.
You got a 7-4 guard and like a 7-2 center.
Right. Like if that's kind of the plan that you guys are trying to orchestrate, I get it. But at the same time, you are the largest player on the court. You have an insane reach ability. You have insane advantage over pretty much everybody that plays against you. I'd hate to think that this dude isn't down there developing post moves and developing turnaround fadeaways, because I promise you, young fella, that like once the playoffs roll around, your big ass gonna get tired, and your big ass ain't gonna make a bunch of threes in a playoff series, and you're gonna have to take your big ass down there. Yeah. Just is what it is. So he'll learn though.
Like 19 points a game. You should be getting 25 right now. You got 20 last year. You should be getting 25 this year. Agreed.
And it's just the beginning of the season, and like, but before his like 36-point game, this dude was getting like 15, 16 a game. So that's an issue. That is a problem. That is a problem of epic proportion.
18. I looked not too long ago. I think it was getting like 18.
Okay. Like you said, though, where's the 25 at? Where's the 26? Where's the 20? I'm here to tell you right now that, man, if you take your big ass down to the post and you're like, and your game plan is I'm going to fucking score 30 on those dudes and there's nothing they can do about it, go Shaq Diesel mentality, you will score fucking 30 points a night. You're not James Harden, dude. You're not. And don't even try to be. Like, that. You know me, I got a pet peeve about James Harden and Damian Lillard and all these guys. Like, I got a huge pet peeve with them. Like, their career 3-point numbers suggest they're better shooters than they are. It's led to, like, bad playoff appearances, bad losses in the playoffs. Bad. Just bad basketball. Dribbling the ball for 10 seconds and doing a step-back 40-footer is not good offense. It hasn't been good offense, and there's a reason why we haven't seen James Harden play in an NBA Finals since he left OKC. There's a reason why we haven't seen Damian Lillard go to – he's only been to one Western Conference Finals, and they got their dicks kicked in. There's a reason for these things, and the last thing I want to see is Wemby fall for the trap. And like all these other players do, they fall for the trap, and it leads to poor basketball.
It don't matter how good you are. It doesn't matter how good you are whenever you play like that. Nobody wants to play with your ass.
Well, here's a question I have for you. So somebody was talking about how Damian Lillard's arguably the second greatest shooter of all time, right? If you've never shot 40% from 3 for a season in your career, you can't even be considered a top 5 3-point shooter of all time, in my opinion. Like, you can be considered one of the best deep ball threats. That's fine. That's fine. But you're not.
I agree with that 100%. 100%. Klay, like, Dame is not in the conversation for best or second best shooter of all time.
No.
Klay and Steph are. Steph is obviously number one. Klay is miles ahead of motherfucking Damian Lillard, and that shit
And
ain't even close. I don't want
and
to. I don't even want to
obviously
hear Damian Lillard mentioned with Klay when it comes to just fucking stroking it.
no. Or Ray.
Dame's a better all around player for sure. But
No
when you talk
question.
about just shooting the three ball, don't mention anybody with Klay Thompson except Steph Curry, as far as I'm concerned.
You can mention Ray in my opinion. You know, I honestly believe
I
Ray Allen in his
don't
prime
want to
on the
hear none of them dudes.
Warriors. Ray Allen in his prime on the Warriors.
You know what?
Replace him with Klay.
That's fair.
Crushing.
That's fair.
Crushing.
That's a fair point. But this fool gonna score 60 plus points without dribbling the
Maybe.
ball.
Without dribbling the ball, no, but Ray Allen is a better offensive player than Klay Thompson. However, though, we've talked about it before.
As a one option for sure.
We've talked about it before. Even two option, I'd take Ray over Klay for the simple fact of like, in case my best player goes down for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, like, and it sucks
would too.
because Klay was starting to develop a much better one-on-one game and like a shot off the dribble before all of his injuries mounted.
He was, but my thing between those two guys, and I'm with you, I would take Ray Allen also because like people forget before Ray Allen was on Boston when he was young, when he was in Milwaukee and when he was in Seattle,
Hooper.
this dude was an athlete and he was a straight hooper, man. Like
Yep.
young Ray Allen is a better athlete than Klay Thompson, and it's not even close.
Yeah, for sure. So, but I mean, honestly, at the end of the day, though, like when it comes to just lacing up 3-pointers, like Ray Allen and Klay Thompson ain't any better than each other, though. I'll give them like 2A, 2B, like, and that's showing mad love and respect for both y'all. Reggie Miller,
That's fair, but I'm taking Klay, man. I'm taking Klay number 2 over everybody all time for sure.
yeah, and that's fair because, like, at the end of the day, though, like, I just get like frustrated because, like, it's like, oh, James Harden's putting up video game numbers, and like, I don't want to knock James Harden, like, he's a top 50 player of all time, and that's and like, I hate when you say that, and like, what about he's probably top 40, top 30, like. Saying somebody's a top 50 basketball player of all time is showing respect. I don't care what anybody says. People can knock me if they want, whatever. I don't give a shit. But, like, I don't know. There's just a reason for the madness. And, like, how many step-back three-pointers and no defense can you play before it's just like, let's take his flowers away a little bit, too. That's just my personal opinion. Like, the way he plays on the Clippers makes me want to throw up. Like, I can honestly say that since 5 years ago, I was turning off James Harden games. Couldn't watch them. Couldn't watch this step back 3-pointer foul baiting.
Not like in. I've been done with James Harden since 2019.
Well, it's a bad product to watch. Like that's like the NBA viewership is down because it's a fucking bad product right now. Like, and I love the NBA.
I don't even mind watching. I don't even mind watching like that kind of play because I don't expect James Harden to win a championship. I know James Harden ain't good enough to like win a championship as the leader of a team. So I don't expect him to do that. So for me, it's like I don't care if you just want to go out there and entertain me and score 35 a game. I'm here for it.
Yeah, but like the moves that he makes and everything, dog, like they're not even that fun to watch. Like NBA fans in general, they've liked the same thing for 50 years, dog. Like we like hard jams. We like hard facials. Like anybody's like, did you guys see Steph Curry's 3-pointer? Did you see that facial the other night though? Like that's real shit. Like motherfuckers like facials and dunks, and motherfuckers like footwork, and people
on that fool. Like that's what we here
yeah,
for. We here
and people like to see the Kobe Bryant footwork.
Ant Ja, that's who we're here for. Ant Ja, Zion,
and people want to see the one-on-one matchups of like the one-on-one matchups of cooking. I'm so over seeing a 3-on-2 break dog run to the corner and fucking brick a 3-pointer. I'm so over seeing this shit. Throw an oop.
I already know.
Throw a fucking oop and let's go, baby. So a lot of people want to try to pinpoint like what's going on with the NBA, and it's as simple as motherfuckers miss it. Motherfuckers miss the league. And it also rubbed people the wrong way when they got rid of inside the NBA. Like motherfuckers want to act like you should never take your fans as just a commodity that's always going to be there. And that's the biggest problem I think that we're seeing right now is they're like, well, they've been watching it. They're going to keep watching it. Like, well, what happens when Steph Curry doesn't play in the NBA anymore and the best 3-point shooter in the ever to fucking walk planet Earth is gone, and you still got all these dudes out here jacking 3-pointers shooting 36% watching bad basketball? Like, what happens whenever, like, people start saying that, like, the women's game of basketball is comparable to the men's game? It's not comparable. It's not. Go dunk the fucking basketball, please. Go be big again. People go be huge again. Like, motherfuckers love watching motherfuckers swat shots into the stands and be aggressive.
Absolutely.
Let's get some rivalries back. Like, people miss that style of basketball. And it's not like, oh, the 90s It's the early 2000s basketball that people miss and the mid 2000s basketball that people miss where people
Absolutely.
played
That was the
positions.
best era by far. By
Well, we had
far.
people that played positions, and people can say that positionless basketball works, but it fucking doesn't. We haven't even seen it really work. Every single time you see a team make a trade at the deadline, they're like, oh shit, we need a small forward who knows how to play small forward. Oh shit, we don't have a power forward that knows how to play the power forward position. And then the teams that are
As
really
of
good
right
right
now,
now, like the Cavs
as
and
I
the
was gonna say,
Celtics,
as of right now, the only undefeated team in the NBA has a regular 1 through 5.
regular, and the Celtics do too. Porzingis is a solid 5. Derek White is still like 6'8", and their players are kind of interchangeable. I get that, but their players know how to. Drew Holiday knows how to play point guard. Derek White knows how to be the fifth guy utility player. Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum know how to play the perimeter and be the best scorers on the team. Porzingis knows how to block shots and space the floor. All these guys know their positions very, very well, and it all leads to a conducive starting 5. And like that's what you're seeing right now with the Orlando Magic. They lost their best player, but they lost the guy who plays power forward position, who plays the middle of the basketball court, and they don't know how to play without him. And it's not just because he's their best player, but it's because they lost their power forward and they ran a lot of offense through him. And you can't replace that. Even with a good player, you can't replace your power forward like that. And we saw players play positions in the early 2000s, and it led to high-quality, high IQ basketball. This is not high IQ basketball. This is everybody thinking they got a bag when they don't. I can step on an NBA court and dribble between my legs for 15 seconds and do oohs and ahs. I can do that. And then chuck up a step-back three-pointer and brick it. I can do that. People don't want to watch shit that they can do either. Everybody can throw the ball from far away. Every single kid on the basketball court now. I've played with young cats, dog. These cats are good because everybody's got a bag. But when me and old heads go out there, we run these fools off the court because we do bounce passes and fucking run fast breaks and don't run out to the three-pointer. Like, I've been on teams where everybody's 40 years old and everybody were playing fucking 18, 19. And we beat these cats because they don't know how to play. And they're better than us.
Facts.
There's a reason why Joker is better than everybody in the NBA, and it's not because he's stronger than everybody or bigger than everybody or faster than everybody. It's because he plays the game of basketball better than everybody. Everybody can play the game of basketball better. Everybody has the ability to learn and do shit, but they don't.
Joker leading the NBA in rebounds and assists right now is crazy.
It's the most absurd thing I've ever even fucking seen, I feel like Wilt Chamberlain did it, I'm sure. I'm sure Wilt did it. Had to have, just because he led the league in assists one year. And I'm not so sure this motherfucker ever didn't lead the league in rebounds. Like, I'm not so sure that ever even happened in his prime.
So he played like 14 years. I'm pretty sure he does have like 11 rebounding titles or something like that.
That's what I'm saying. So the only person that even could have done
like,
this,
I think there was like a couple years where Bill Russell may have got it, but
right. But if there's anybody that could have done this, the only person that would have ever done it is Wilt. That's it. So if Joker does something that nobody's done except for Wilt Chamberlain, this motherfucker right here.
Is he gonna get a 4th MVP this year?
No.
Nikola Jokic, same amount of MVPs as LeBron and Wilt Chamberlain?
They're not going to give it to him because like they've already made up their minds that Shea gets it. Like Chet Holmgren's going to be out for 8 to 10 weeks. And the Thunder will play good basketball. They'll give all the credit to Shea, which he deserves, and they'll just give him the MVP award because they robbed him of it last year for like media circus rights. Like the MVP award means nothing now because when you look at when you look at players in the, like they even had Anthony Davis ranked #1 for MVP odds like a week ago. When you look at players in the NBA right now, for players that deserve the MVP award, the only player that deserves the MVP award right now is the only 2 players is Shea and Donovan Mitchell. That is it. Nobody else deserves to be mentioned. Don't even have a top 5 ranking for it. It doesn't matter. Joker doesn't deserve it. Not right now, dog. Shea, the Thunder have come out in their first 10 games. They won like their first 8 games by 10+ points. They were like the first team to ever do it in NBA history. So they're dominating the league with injuries. So like Shea deserves to be in the conversation. Anytime you start off 12-0 and you're the best player on that team and you show it every night consistently, you deserve to be in the MVP conversation. Everybody else, no. I'm sorry, no. Now the interesting question is like, now that you see the landscape of the NBA, is there any trades that can be made to make this a funner season? Because like Jimmy Butler's up for grabs, I think. I think Jimmy's up for grabs. And not only is he up for grabs, I think that if he's not up for grabs, it's a bad decision on everybody's part, including Jimmy's.
I think no matter where Jimmy gets traded, that's gonna make it fun and entertaining. And if Giannis and Dame get traded, because if they trade Giannis, they're gonna trade Dame also.
Absolutely.
So if Giannis and Dame get traded, hopefully Milwaukee blows it up and saves the end of them two dudes, or like the end of Dame's career, and Giannis is on the back half of his. So
Right. Well,
like,
here's a trade proposal that I thought
Jimmy
of the
get
other
out.
day, and I liked it. I thought it was a good idea, and if I was the Milwaukee Bucks, I would be calling the Miami Heat for Jimmy Butler. That's what I would be doing. I would be like, hey, not working out over here. What are you willing to give me for Giannis? Like, can I get Jimmy Butler for contract purposes and then like a couple firsts? And then I can flip Jimmy for another first round pick. And then I can flip Dame for a couple firsts. And I get like maybe 6 first round picks and like 3 swaps out of this deal. With like maybe I can get like Tyler Hero in this deal as well and flip him for a first round pick. Like, I think that's what you got to look at now because your franchise is a mess. And I'm kind of interested what you think of that trade proposal because like you either got to get assets. That's all you need. Like that's all you should even be looking for. So what do you think of the trade proposal? Because then you got Bam and Giannis on Miami.
I would let it be known that Giannis and Dame are both available, and whoever's got the best package for either one of them dudes, or shit, if you want both of them, if you got the best package for me, whatever. Like I would blow up everything and let Doc Rivers keep running my team into the ground and tank for the next couple of years and stock up assets and reset.
That's all you can do. That's all you can do.
That's all you can. You've put yourself in such a bad position. That's all you can do is hit the fucking reset button.
You know, and if this was 2 years ago, before the new CBA, I'd say, nah, dude, fuck that. Take whatever assets you got, Chris Middleton, Brooke Lopez, all the bums you have, lace that up for like Jimmy Butler and see what happens. Like give up every asset you got left, just make the trade work and pay the taxes. But now that they can't even do that and they have to do 1-for-1 player trades and they can't use first round picks to buffer the difference between money, and there's just so many fucking limitations that they can do that I just don't see an avenue for them to be successful. And at this point, really even make that much money, even with the taxes they got to pay. I don't even see them being able to make very much money. So at the end of the day,
if I'm Milwaukee, even if the CBA would allow for that to work, even if I'm Milwaukee, if I'm in their position, I don't even want Jimmy Butler because I don't want this dude being coached by Doc Rivers because Jimmy Butler will cause problems if Doc Rivers is his coach. I don't want to deal
for
with
sure.
that shit.
I think he will too. And I don't know, like I think that we need to get away from also maybe like, well, they're a championship coach. I think we just saw it this weekend as well. Everybody was defending Mike McCarthy and being like, well, he's a Super Bowl winning coach. Well, he coached Aaron Rodgers for like 8-10 years. Like, yeah, you should probably have one. At the end of the day, like Doc Rivers coached the Celtics. He should probably have a championship. And he should have more than one. I don't care. I know KG was hurt for one of those seasons. I don't give a fuck. I don't care. You should have more than one. You should have more accolades than you do. You've coached great teams and never went super far with them. So at the end of the day, that's a good point. Jimmy Butler will probably run Doc Rivers out of town. But at the end of the day, like, who even fucking cares? Like, who cares? Get him out of there. Like, pay 4 coaches. I don't give a fuck. This dude sucks, man. Like,
I feel you.
This dude sucks, man. Like, at the end of the day,
those are options. You either gotta pay 4 coaches, or you gotta reset.
I think the reset's the right move to go. I think resetting is the only thing that they can do. However, though, like, yuck across the board, yuck on that. So,
yeah.
But we'll know a little bit more. We'll know a little bit more about the NBA season. Like another 10 games goes by, and we're fucking damn near 25 games into this bitch. It's like, okay. Also, in-season tournament starts tonight. Who gives a fuck, right?
That's right.
Who gives a fuck, right? At the end of the day,
in-season tournament was awesome last year. Let's not act like it wasn't. It was
cool.
It was the only. It was the first time in my life I've ever seen good basketball, good NBA basketball in November.
We'll see how long they take it serious, though. Like, I just wish the NBA would let me help them out a little bit. I get your viewership back up, dog. I get you back up.
And I look forward to the championship rounds in Vegas. Like
I do too. I'd like to go. That'd be sweet.
We will.
We might be able to. We might be able to if we're not too fucking busy.
Yeah.
But anywho,
NBA Cup is awesome. So I don't want to knock it. That shit was entertaining. The best thing Adam Silver's done since he's been ahead of the NBA. So I'll take it. Good basketball in November.
I don't want to knock.
You never get good basketball before Christmas Day. Never have we got good basketball before Christmas
That's true.
Day. That's why everyone.
No, I agree.
Christmas game.
I agree, but I just
wait for Christmas for the NBA to get good.
I don't want to say this to knock this dude, and like he ain't gonna hear this anyways. But like at the end of the day, maybe it's time for us to maybe look for a new commish.
I ain't even mad at that, dog.
If viewership's the lowest it's been in like 8 years, you know, at the end of the day, like if a CEO had the lowest revenue that they had in the last 8 years, they're getting fucking fired.
Their revenue's probably been up over the whole time he's been there, though. Just viewership, and the viewership numbers are skewed now because, like, they can't track a lot of the things that they used to be able to. Whenever everyone was watching on cable or digital cable or whatever, now it's like so many people watch bootleg shit, and because we gotta have so many different streams and this and that.
So what? So what? You guys, there's been WNBA games.
If the revenue's up, who cares what your viewership is?
There's been WNBA games that outrate y'all. Like, you should care what your viewership is, because at the end of the day, dog, like, you getting money right now, but in a decade from now, and everybody's like, I don't watch that shit no more. All it takes is one generation of not really watching shit, and their fucking kids don't watch it either.
Real talk.
And that's a fact. Now, my son gonna watch it. My son already watches basketball. This motherfucker just turned 2 years old, and like when I turn around, he's like, basketball, daddy. And I'm like, yeah, sit down, shut the fuck up, watch this shit. Now, he might only watch it for 10 minutes, but motherfucker gonna be watching it. He gonna be watching it, and he's gonna listen to his daddy.
I ain't mad at that though.
What?
I ain't mad at that. They should make me the commissioner of the NBA.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I'll take it. I'll do it for way less than him too. Like, I'll do it for way less. Give me a cool, 2.5, 3.5 mil a year. You got yourselves a great commissioner. I'll do it for a couple $100,000, dog. I ain't even, I don't make no money. I'll do that shit for a couple $100,000. I don't make no fucking money. So, but we'll leave it at that. We're running low on time, so we're gonna have to fucking jump into this another day. Try to bring you guys we're gonna try to bring you at least one more podcast this week. And kind of go from there, and then we'll just fucking keep this train going. And we got some fucking sweet shit for y'all over the next couple days today.
Oh, we got cool stuff coming today. We got cool stuff coming tomorrow. Some awesome collaborations.
Yeah, we got some dope collabs that we're not gonna bring up.
Told y'all about yet.
But y'all see them.
Yeah, we got some amazing stuff in the cooker right now. So
we got some Billy goats. We're over here working with some Billy goats. Everybody, well, holla.
Goat stuff over here. Y'all already know RiOT Comedy. Appreciate y'all.
Holla.